The next question we have is, what are some key techniques I can use for choosing the right research methodology for my study?
Yeah, a great question because there are so many methodologies to choose from. And, these methodologies, they become our roadmap for the rest of our dissertation. So making that right choice up front and early really is key to success. So a couple of thoughts on this. First, we have to start with our research question. And your methodology obviously has to answer your research question. And so making sure that there's alignment there is really important. So if you're doing more of a descriptive kind of question, like what's happening in this circumstance, then that's going to drive you towards more qualitative work where we're trying to understand the impact of a phenomena on a group of people. Or maybe you're doing some comparative analysis. You're implementing an intervention in a classroom and you're trying to compare this classroom to that classroom or this school system to that school system. That's going to take you more towards that experimental, maybe quasi experimental design area. So we want to start with our question and make sure that there's alignment between our methodology and our question. Your question should knock a lot of methodologies off the list pretty quick. We then want to kind of think about what can we feasibly do? And this is one that a lot of us, I think, get to too late in the process because, a lot of us have this idea that our dissertation is the most important piece of research and writing we will ever do in our lives. And we build it up really big in our head. But really, that's kind of a toxic framing for a lot of us because it's really the first big piece of research that most of us will do. And so it's not going to be this grand magnum opus that changes the world. We want to think about what can we actually accomplish? What data do you have access to? What techniques do you have access to? What tools? What have you learned in your methodology classes? So this is not a space to test out new methodologies that you've never heard of before. Go back through your methodology classes, through the notes that you've taken, through the textbooks that you have, and select a methodology from there that you are well trained in, well structured, and prepared to address. A lot of clients come to us at Grad Coach because they've chosen a methodology that they don't know how to do, and they need us to help teach them and work through the steps of those methodologies. So think about what can you actually do. And then finally, I would also say, consider your time frame. Most of the folks who work with us at Grad Coach are part-time graduate students. They're working adults, they have families, they have jobs, they have churches, they have social clubs, they have commitments, many commitments, and they're doing this on top of all of that. And so think about, when do you want to be finished? If you want to be finished in 6 months, then you can't pick a methodology that takes 3 years to complete. And so we have to think about the practical confinement of your situation and make sure that your methodology fits within those confines. David, what do you think?
Those are really great points. Alignment is always the most important. It doesn't help doing a methodology that's going to not answer your question. And then, as Matthew said at the end there, really think about what's feasible. I've had many situations working with clients where they have a grand idea. They have a really exciting topic. They have a really niche idea, but they don't have access to, for instance, CEOs in Fortune 500 companies. And so as a result, they end up getting stuck. So then you've got to think, what can I do to answer that question with an approach that'll work for my timeline, for my skill set, and for my experience as well. So definitely always think about, what can I do? What is going to be feasible? And what will help me get my dissertation done, as opposed to getting me ABD?